The summer sun was merciless the afternoon Sarah pulled her old pickup into the long dirt driveway of the ranch. Heat shimmered across the golden fields, cattle bells clanged faintly in the distance, and dust rose in swirls around her tires as if to welcome and warn her at the same time. She cut the engine, sat for a moment with her hands tight on the steering wheel, and whispered to herself, "Well, here goes nothing." The decision to leave the city had come faster than anyone expected, even herself. One week she was plating dishes under the bright lights of a downtown restaurant, and the next she was answering an ad for a cook on a cattle ranch she had never heard of. Something about the idea had tugged at her. The promise of open skies, hard work that mattered, and people who ate for fuel rather than decoration. She had trained as a chef, she had lived the life of stainless steel kitchens and perfectly arranged garnishes, but her heart wanted something different. She had said yes before she could second-guess herself. She opened the door and stepped down into the dust, her boots sinking slightly. A handful of men in wide-brimmed hats turned their heads to watch her. They leaned against the barn fence, their laughter fading into curiosity. One of them, tall with a sun-browned beard and shoulders like a wall, called out, "You the new cook?" She tightened her grip on her small suitcase and nodded. "That's me." The man laughed, tipping his hat. "God bless you. Our stomachs have been suffering." The others chuckled, some crowding closer to shake her hand, others simply smiling their approval. Sarah felt their eyes on her like heat. She reminded herself that she was here for work, nothing more. That evening she made her first meal: scrambled eggs by the dozens, roasted beef with pepper and salt, beans slow-cooked with bacon, and cornbread that filled the kitchen with warmth. The men devoured everything like wolves. Compliments flew across the long wooden table. "This is the best we've eaten all year," one declared with his mouth full. "Darlin', if you keep this up, we'll never let you leave," another added. Their laughter bounced off the walls. Sarah laughed nervously but let a small pride settle in her chest. Her food mattered here, not as decoration but as life. Still, her eyes drifted to the far end of the table. One cowboy sat apart, quieter than the rest. His plate was clean, his posture relaxed, but his gaze lingered on her longer than anyone else's. He wasn't loud like the others, didn't boast or tell jokes. Yet when he did speak, the table hushed. His name, she soon learned, was Luke. He had the kind of presence that didn't need announcing: broad shoulders, skin bronzed by the sun, and eyes that seemed to measure everything they saw. He worked hard, spoke little, and carried himself with a calm authority that made the others glance his way when decisions were needed. Sarah assumed he was just another ranch hand, perhaps a foreman. But there was something different in how he carried himself, a quiet gravity that set him apart. Late one night, long after supper, when the house had gone still, Sarah stood in the kitchen scrubbing dishes. She heard a voice behind her. "You always stay up this late." She jumped, nearly dropping a plate. Luke leaned against the doorframe, arms folded, the shadow across his face hiding all but his eyes. "I just wanted to finish up," she said. He studied her for a long moment, then allowed the faintest smile. "This life isn't easy, but if you stick it out, this place will get under your skin. Might even feel like home." Something in his tone made her chest tighten. She didn't know why, but his words clung to her long after he had walked away. Days blurred into weeks. Sarah rose before dawn, the smell of coffee filling the air by the time boots hit the floorboards. She learned to bake biscuits that stayed soft even when shoved into saddle bags. She knew which men needed extra helpings and which ones pretended not to. The Cowboys teased her, tried to steal bites before meals, and once staged a mock steak theft that ended with her chasing them from the kitchen with a wooden spoon. Their laughter echoed across the yard like music. Yet it was Luke who unsettled her most. He ate every meal quietly, thanked her politely, and seemed to notice things the others didn't. When she looked tired, when she burned her hand on the oven, when she stood a little too long outside staring at the endless horizon. One morning, as she set fresh bread on the railing to cool, Luke was saddling a horse nearby. He glanced up. "You've got flour on your cheek," he said. Sarah flushed, rubbing at her face with the back of her hand. Occupational hazard. For a moment their eyes locked, and the world seemed to still. Then he turned back to his work, and she to her bread, but her heart beat wildly as if she had run a mile. One evening, restless after supper, Sarah stepped outside. The sky was a dark velvet filled with stars, and the air hummed with crickets. Near the barn, she saw Luke speaking quietly with the older foreman. She paused in the shadows, not meaning to eavesdrop but unable to move away. "You sure you don't want to tell them?" the foreman asked. Luke's reply was steady. "Not yet. I want to see who they are when they don't know who I am." The words struck her like a bolt. Who he was. The truth unfolded in her mind. Luke wasn't just another cowboy. He was the owner of this ranch, of the land itself, of the house where they all slept and the cattle that roamed the fields. And he hadn't told anyone. The knowledge weighed on her. Should she confront him? Should she keep his secret? Each glance across the table felt heavier, each word between them sharper. Finally, one evening when she was alone in the kitchen, Luke stepped in. She turned, heart hammering. "I know," she said softly. His eyes sharpened. "Know what? That this place is yours. That you're not just working here." Silence stretched. Then he exhaled slowly. "Yes." She searched his face. "Why not tell them?" "Because people treat you different when they know. Out here I want to work beside them, not above them. I want to know who respects me for the man I am, not the name on the deed." His honesty sank into her chest. She realized he wasn't hiding out of pride but out of longing, for trust, for truth. From then on, something shifted between them. Their connection grew in stolen moments, him fixing the hinge on the kitchen door without asking, her saving the last piece of pie for him. Conversations stretched longer, laughter came easier. She learned that he had inherited the ranch young after his father's death, that the weight of responsibility had shaped every step he took. He learned that she had fled the city because she wanted more than recognition, she wanted roots. "You could have chosen anywhere," he said one night. "Why here?" She looked at him steadily. "Because I was looking for something real." Their eyes held, the space between them charged. When his hand brushed hers, it felt inevitable, like a truth waiting to be spoken. As the summer ripened into early autumn, Sarah knew she didn't want to leave. The ranch had tested her, worn her out, and in the process given her what she had been missing all along, belonging. One evening she stood at the fence line, the sunset painting the sky in fire. Luke came beside her. His voice was low, steady. "You ever think about staying?" Tears stung her eyes as she smiled. "Every day." He stepped closer, his hand finding hers. "Then stay. Not as our cook, not as the owner's secret. Stay because this is home. Stay with me." Her answer rose straight from her heart. She turned to him, and for the first time their lips met, sealing what had grown quietly between them all summer. Under the endless western sky, with cattle lowing in the distance and the land stretching into forever, Sarah realized she had come to cook for cowboys but had found much more. She had found the man who owned the land beneath their boots and, unknowingly, her heart as well. And in that truth, she had found home.